A treaty is an agreement between the two tribes. So you presented your case to them, or what it was you wanted, and from that the discussion went from there. They listened to you, and then they wanted to see how it was going to benefit their people, and they did a lot of this. It was all done friendly, and it was done because maybe it was going to benefit all of the people. It was always done, so is this a good thing that's going to benefit our people they're presenting to us? You know, whatever it might be. Maybe they wanted to make a treaty on a certain area where they had all the, they didn't call it, I have a right to this river and all the fish in it or whatever, but maybe they had all the fish there, and because they knew that, they would make some kind of a treaty with our people and say, well, look, this is how we'll do it. We'll give you this much fish or whatever, or rights to fish certain times with, and you will also give us time to come in and maybe hunt there. Or maybe there was more wild rice in one area. You know, they had things. They had some riches, then resources too, that was their bargaining. It was like a bargaining. And once they came to an agreement, these were all friendly, and it was all good business, because they stood to gain both ways, whoever was presenting the treaty, and they were respectful of one another, and they didn't bring any harm to one another. And that's just the way, that's what a good businessman would do today. Yeah. Well, they knew how to do that then too. And then when the newcomers came, they welcomed these people. They wanted to help them because there was so few of them, and they were not posing any, they didn't feel they were posing any kind of a threat. So they did help. They helped the newcomers come in. They didn't see any threat to them. So they helped them to settle and become part of the land here. But they didn't really foresee what the future was. And as more and more came, other things started happening where disagreements came in, not with the First Nation people or our Dakota people, but a lot of it had to do with the newcomers starting to disagree with one another. And then they started into the wars amongst themselves, like with the British and the French. You know, all these people were coming in to conquer the country, well, unknown to us. We didn't know these cultures, so we didn't know what was in their mind or what their intention was. But our people went there and helped them as the need arose. And the newcomers utilized the people that were here, all the First Nations here, whichever way they could. They could use them for guides or whatever. So as differences brought about conflict, then they also used our people to help them to fight in their disagreements too. And that was the start of some things that were not good, but they took the side, if they were asked to, they took the side of whether it was the British or whatever group of people it was. And that's how they too were given promises that if they helped in these situations, that they would be looked after. There was always some promises made to them. And of course, some of those promises weren't kept. The Dakota people did not want to enter into any kind of a treaty with the governments because they had that some of their tribes who were in the States, you see, our Dakota people aren't just in Canada, they were all over. But traditionally, we know where the land was. And traditionally, we had a territory where we were there. This is our territory most of the time. And then this belonged to the Cree, and this belonged to the other tribes. And traditionally, they know where their territory is, where they were originally. And if the government, when they were in the States, there are Dakota people that were in the States were entered into treaties with the federal government in the United States, the very new United States at the time. They entered into treaty with them. And the treaties were never honored. They were never honored, respected. That is what created all the great wars. Now, our Sioux people in particular are known. The history books are telling about the Sioux and the Sioux fighting with the federal troops. It seemed the Sioux were the greatest warriors that were fighting and fighting. They were fighting because the federal government in the United States was not honoring these treaties. That created the wars. That was the biggest thing. They did not honor the treaties. And our Dakota people, the Sioux people, would never again enter into another treaty. They wouldn't. They also had an agreement with King George, who was fighting with other people too, and he wanted the Sioux to help him. They helped him, and he made an agreement with them and said, if you ever need me, I will be there. And when the ones in the Dakota people that are in Canada, they never entered into any kind of a treaty because he had already made an agreement with them long before that. And he, the king, he's long gone, but all his succeeding representatives have never tried to honor that to this very day. And that's the issue that the Dakota people have today with the Canadian government. They have not honored that agreement that King made with our people.